What is going on, guys? Welcome to another Buy the Dips and Sell the Rips. Today, oh my goodness, we're about to enter into December, and what a crazy day to get started with this video. Today is pretty crazy, but I do want to give you guys a really cool perception of how things are. Listen, regardless of what the money's doing and regardless of what the market is doing, we are always printing 10x's, 20x's. Look at this beautiful call we called in another Buy the Dips, Sell the Rips video. Called this at 19 million, guys, and right now it ran up all the way up to 200 mil. That's a nice clean 10x. Just being able to position yourself accordingly. I'm telling you, these videos are like gold. So if you don't want to miss these videos, you want to get access to them early, and you want to make sure you get access to 10x's that happen on the fly every single day, make sure you guys join Boltz Alpha. Link is down below, and let's lock in. So Pippin is doing pretty awesome. We kind of knew it was going to take off. It was just a matter of time, and that's basically what it did. Let's take a look at a couple of dips that are happening right now. As you guys, the market is bleeding just a little bit, but we're going to go into the first one called Polyfacts. Now, Polyfacts I do like a lot, and I think eventually it's going to do very well. Right now, it's in a beautiful correction here down to 2 mil. Now, of course, this might dip a little bit just if the market keeps bleeding a little bit more. It might dip a little bit more down to this like 1.5 range. Still, 2 mil is actually a pretty good buy for this particular coin. So I would actually add a little bit here at 2 mil, expecting this to maybe dip down to like 1.5 if the market just keeps bleeding and this keeps bleeding. But I do expect a nice bounce back on Polyfacts. So if you're not in Polyfacts yet, right now, it looks like a very good entry here for Polyfacts. So 2 mil, very nice. 1.5 would be like ideal. The lowest I think this goes is down to 1 million if like the market gets really like red and bloody. But 2 mil is a very beautiful entry for this one. The next one we have, guys, is Nobody. And I've been telling you guys, I talked about this one last week as well. It was hovering right here, beautiful at 13 mil, right up to 17. But now it's coming back down just because the market's bleeding. So I think potentially, if you didn't get in last week, we probably see another retracement down here to this 2 mil range. 12 mil range. I think that is where you will see a beautiful entry here. So, it was kind of just hovering right here, but I think this 12 mil entry between 12 and 10, ideally, that's where you kind of want to look at and where I feel will be pretty solid for you guys. This is Nobody. The next one we're going to talk about is WOJAK, and this one right here, guys, is one of the strongest charts that came out this week. Thing ran really crazy all the way to 60 mil. It's been a while since we haven't seen a coin in 60 mil, especially in the meme coin space. I think if the market keeps getting bloodier and bloodier, we might see a nice correction on this one where it comes back down to 30. This dip that happened today, this 30 mil, was a very beautiful entry. Once again, we might see another one dip down to 30 mil. I mean, this is a very strong coin and a very strong chart. So I'm not 100% sure we see this 30 mil again, but if we do, this is probably where you want to enter if you haven't entered already. I mean, the worst case scenario, this goes down to 25. Worst case, I doubt it, very unlikely, but I do feel that 30 mil entry would be king because you could always DCA down to 25 if it comes down to 25. And get a beautiful entry here. But I still think 30 mil, solid entry. If you get that again, right now it's at 40. But you want to keep an eye on this one. This is one of the strongest charts currently right now. The next one I want to talk about is 6-7. Now, I've given you this coin ever since 2 mil. So if you haven't been keeping track of the channel, you haven't been keeping track of the videos, you missed out on this beautiful place since 2 mil. Ran up to 44. Listen, this coin, I have no idea why it's so low. The only thing I could think of why it's low is because they're probably pushing this and then they're gonna push it later. But this has been all over, man. It's been on the news. It's been on the political front. It's been on video games. It recently just came out on Fortnite. It's just so much mind share on this coin that I literally have no idea what's going on with people and why they are kind of suppressing the price a little bit. But eventually, I think this rips, okay? And when I say rips, it goes back to all-time high. Right now, it's at 17 mil. The lowest has gone is to 15. Of course, ideally, I would love a 15 mil entry if you're not in this coin. That would be probably the best entry right there, 15 mil. but 17 is not that far off. Okay, so this is like a buy zone for me because maybe we don't see 15 again. We just kind of get stuck within this, 17 mil. So what I would do is I put a little bit of a buy in here at 17 and then buy a little bit more at 15 if it does come down there, and it just gives me a nice average of, like, depending on how much I buy, like kind of like 16 mil to that 15 mil range. And then I just expect this to go back up, back up to past the all-time high. So a nice little clean 2 to 3x, potentially 5x on this one, but a really, really good entry nonetheless, just because the market is kind of just segueing just a little bit right now. The next one we have, and this is going to be kind of one of those Hail Mary plays. I actually call this one on the Boltz Alpha at 100K, and this one actually did pretty well. It went from 100 all the way up to 300, so that was a nice little clean 3x right there for the Bolt squad. But this is still went back up all the way almost up to here, guys, to 500K. So another like a 5x from our call, but it's still holding very well. This is kind of like more of a high risk play. If you're not into too much tolerance of high risk plays, then you probably want to avoid this one. But it has a really good upside when it comes to that. Remember, all this that we're talking about, guys, not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing to make money and trade. And hopefully, you guys, you can follow along because I want to make sure you guys are able to make money as well. The next one we're looking, guys, is Fartcoin. As you guys know, been giving you guys Fartcoin for a while now. Especially when it came down to this retracement down to 22 million and down to 198 million. We call that at the Bolt squad this beautiful dip here of 198. So really good solid entry. Right now the market's bleeding again, and since the market's bleeding again, we might see this come down to here again under 200 mil. I think it's a no-brainer buying this under 200 mil. If you have some Solana that you kind of feel like, you know what, I could probably put some Solana in there and just kind of just wait it out just a little bit, you might be able to grab yourself a nice little 2 to 3x. So really solid entry here if you're not in this play. Fartcoin, you want to get it below 200 mil. That's kind of like the play. 200 mil or below 200 mil, around that 198 mil, or hopefully 180 mil would be ideal. But around that 180 mil to 200 mil, that is kind of like where you want to be. Okay, that's kind of where you want to be. So really solid play right here for Fartcoin. Then we have Useless once again, guys. Useless had a beautiful dip again because the market was bleeding. Once again, the market is bleeding again, and it probably come down here to this 80 mil entry right here, 85. So if it comes down to 85, that's another buy zone for me because literally it went from 85 up to 130 on this previous bounce. Almost came up here to this 2x. If the market wasn't bleeding the way it is right now, we would probably see this kind of still sustain its momentum. But once again, it's coming down here. I would actually buy a little bit here and kind of just wait for this to go back up. Potential 3 to 4x here once the market corrects itself. Okay. The next one we have is DUPE. Once again, it's doing its thing. All these charts, the reason I love them is because these coins should theoretically perform very well when the market recovers, which we do expect a recovery. So right now you're getting kind of like beautiful entries. Okay, so this one's at 10 mil right now. Ideally, you want to get below 10 possibly, but that 10 mil entry is still pretty solid if it bounces from 10 and goes back up. Okay, so still pretty solid entry. Ideally, you want to get into this zone right here, which is this 8 mil zone. Okay, that's kind of like your first target zone where you would buy. So anything between 10 and 8 would be an ideal buy. It might come down lower though. Highly doubt it, but there's still a possibility. I just want to mention it that you might see that, kind of like 6 mil range if the market just keeps kind of underperforming. But I think 8 to 10 mil is a very beautiful buy zone here. A nice little 4 to 5x here on this play. The next one we have is OneCoin. And as you guys know, I've been calling and talking about this coin since it came out. Right now, it's coming back down to 8 million. Right now where it's at. I don't think we go lower than 8 mil, to be honest. I think the lowest we possibly see on this coin is maybe like right here. That's 7 mil, 7.8 mil. That would probably be the lowest, and I think we get a bounce from that 7 mil. Still think that this coin will give you a nice little 3 to 4x potentially. So you want to make sure you position accordingly because we've gotten those X's already on just the initial bounce. As you guys see right here, it came down to 7 and then ran back to 18. So that was a clean 2x. But I do think this coin does break all-time high eventually. Just when the market starts getting a little bit choppy, dips happen. The next one we have is Kermit. Now, this is a newer coin hasn't been out quite a long time. So you might see the possibility that this comes down to 1.5 right here. And that is where I would look for a position. As you see right now, it's kind of dipping just a little bit from that 2 mil. So it didn't sustain that 2 mil range. It's kind of 1.8. I think we see that 1.5. That's where you would kind of be like, okay, you know what? Let me take a nice little gamble here. Let me take a nice little possibility of getting a little bit in here. And if you are able to get this in 1.5, I think that's a solid entry. Should give you a nice little position here. Expecting a nice little bounce on this one to kind of go back up. It's just a newer coin, a little bit more riskier than the other, but still has a upside potential of actually doing pretty well. The next one we have is nothing. This is once again another newer coin. On this one, guys, in particular, I wouldn't be buying this around this range of that 2.8. Still seems to be a little bit high for this one to take that risk. I would actually wait for this coin to come under 2 mil, just because the way the market's happening right now, there's a little bit of a bleeding. It's actually pretty bullish that it's sustaining this kind of price range, which is actually pretty solid. But I do want to get a better entry. So 1.8 mil to 1.2 mil is kind of like the range you want to look into here. If it comes down, I don't think it'll come down to this 1.1 range, but I do feel pretty strongly that it could probably come down to 1.8. That's where you would position yourself. If it comes down even further to that 1.1, you probably DCA a little bit there and kind of have like a, average of 1.2. And then once you're done with that, you should be positioned pretty well. The last coin we're going to be taking a look at is called Kled. I gave you guys Kled at 600K. This thing ran up all the way, all the way up to 55 mil. Currently, right now, it's at 19 mil. It's kind of just holding strong there, kind of holding that 20 mil range. Ideally, that would be a very good entry because that should give you a nice clean 2x from 20 to 40. But what I'm looking for this one is maybe, guys, maybe we get this 15 mil, 14 mil entry just because of the way the market's behaving right now. That is when I would position myself. That is when I'm like, okay, you know what? That is kind of like a very good entry. I like that entry. Let me take a stab at it and see what it does. So that 15 mil range, like 14, 15, 13 mil range is kind of like where I'm looking to position myself there and see if I can get a nice little 2 to 3x off of Kled. Of course, I gave you this one below $1 million, so you guys shouldn't even be sweating this one. A lot of you guys should be up, but if you're not up and you haven't been in this coin, this is a very good one to actually keep an eye on. And those are pretty much the coins I'm watching this week. I think we'll have a nice little upside on some of these. So hopefully you guys are locked in. You're ready to go. You're ready to print. Don't forget we stream every Tuesday and Thursdays on YouTube. So stop by and hang out. In addition to that, guys, don't forget if you want early access to these videos, they actually do very, very well. Make sure you guys join Boltz Alpha. Link is down below in the Discord. So you guys not only don't miss these videos, but on top of that, don't miss the actual live plays that we put out every single day. Thank you guys for watching, and I think December is going to be a green December. So let's lock in, and let's make some money. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.